Apparently, Lil Tecca, damn, my bad. Apparently, Lil Tecca is the most loved rapper in the industry. I don't know if that's true or false. To me, it's false. But I want to see his take on this. So we about to get straight into it. Okay. Let's see what they talking about, man.
Dropping his breakthrough hit, Ransom, Lil Tecca wanted to literally quit music due to his second album performing very poorly, being framed as a one-hit wonder by his own fans, to just a couple years down the line, completely reviving his career and back to dropping Billboard topping hits, now being seen as one of the most consistent and underrated artists in recent times. So here is why everyone loves Lil Tecca. So let's bring it back to 2019
Boy said Tecca better than Cardi. It's tough.
for a second, where Tecca was just 16 years old. Yet that didn't stop him from dropping one of the biggest hits of that year, Ransom. And I don't think I need to explain too much about this song, it would simply go on to become a viral smash hit. Originally debuting on the 93rd position on the Billboard 100 and would eventually peak at the number 4 position, a couple of weeks after gaining more momentum. And we can't talk about Ransom without of course mentioning the iconic Lyrical Lemonade music video that was released alongside it. I mean, at the time,
Lil Tecca was hideous when he dropped this. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. He was hit. I'm talking about, brother. He was idiot. He was a child when he dropped that. No cap, but he grew up. He grew up.
this was absolutely absurd. This random kid just got a top 5 Billboard entry whilst being completely independent. Now, as an artist, it's good to get your first breakthrough hit. However, it's as important to continue putting out hits so you don't become a one-hit wonder, which Lil Tecca would actually accomplish with his debut project, We Love You Tecca, released on the 30th of August in that year, just 4 days after his 17th birthday. This project would include more hit songs such as Shots, Did It Again, Amigo, Love Me, and even the Juice WRLD remix of Ransom. Honestly, the whole album is full of hits, as even just going through it now, some of my favourite songs are some of the least streamed ones.
I can't even lie, his visuals be crazy. No cap, his visuals be hard.
Side Note and Bossa Nova, straight bangers. The project would debut at the 4th spot on the Billboard 200 albums chart and sell an impressive 70,000 units in its first week. Outstanding debut numbers. Now, even with the project being liked and performing well, Tecca faced some criticism early on. Tecca won't be the artist you go for deep music or songs with insane production, and he seems to know his niche, making background trap music. At 17, he still has insane potential as an artist. Listening so far, there's no songs which will make me go insane, but they do serve as decent songs to save to the playlist / background stuff, which at first some of you may see as an insult to his music, calling it background music and in general not having much meaning. But really, this is probably one of Tecca's best attributes in keeping his career alive for the long term. If you have the perfect formula, why would you switch it up? So then let's move into 2019, a year and 1 month after the release of his debut album. Tecca would drop Virgo World, 19 songs with features from the likes of Polo G, Lil Durk, Lil Uzi Vert and Nav. Well, unfortunately for him, this is where things got a little bit sour. The album wasn't perceived well, selling a poor 35,000 units in its first week and debuting at the number 10 spot, basically selling half of his debut project, with Tecca himself on Twitter being quite overwhelmed by the hate. I hope I inspired some of the kids that were just like me with this project. That's all I wanted. If I disappointed you, I'm sorry. Thanks for supporting me even if I let you down, with him later on even suggesting he's going to retire. I love y'all, but this won't be continuing as long as y'all thought. There's like 30 other rappers that sound just like me, you'll be good. It seemed like the pressure of being a rap superstar at 18 was getting to Tecca, but why? Well, firstly, fans
Boy, his ass cared too much. He was caring too much, bro. He was caring too much. You gotta look at it like, bro, when I wake up in the morning, I'm able to do what I want to do at 18 years old. It's a select few amount of people that was able to do that at 18. So that should be the things that you think about first, and you shouldn't let anybody even be able to ruin your day. Not even gonna lie.
Also upset with the version of Dolly with Lil Uzi Vert that was released, as it was supposedly not as good as the leaked 2018 version, leaving them disappointed that after a long 2-year wait, they didn't get what they wanted. Bruh, we waited years for Dolly to come out and it's completely changed. They really ruined Uzi's best song, and overall that album just didn't contain the same hits his debut project did. It still had 2 big songs with Our Time and Out of Love, however, the majority of the songs didn't even break 8 million streams, and from what I can find, most people just didn't find any of the songs to be memorable. They didn't have that same catchy feel like the song.
Hold on, we ain't gonna get cranked right now. Yeah, we trying to lock in. Stop cranking me. Okay. Stop cranking me.
Overall a mediocre album, and compared to his previous drop, a disappointment. It was unfortunate. It must be tough as an 18-year-old to have the pressure of basically dropping another Ransom, or dropping another album with the same amount of hits as We Love You Tecca. But that's the harsh reality of blowing up as an artist. One day people love you, and then next they're trying to tear you down. But even though it seemed like the pressure was getting to Tecca, the following year would get off to a better start. He would drop multiple successful singles, Jet Ski with Lil Mosey, Never Left, Show Me Up, and Repeat It. He would also drop his 3rd album, We Love You Tecca 2, with it really doing the same numbers as Virgo World, or actually slightly worse, selling 30,000 units in its first week and debuting at number 10. Again, not atrocious, but not the same heights he had with his debut album. Now personally, from what I remember back around this time, my thought of Tecca was, like, he isn't an artist where I would go play his albums from start to finish, like someone such as, for example, Juice WRLD. I'm just trying to think of artists from that era Tecca came from. However, I knew I can rely on Tecca to drop multiple fire songs, like singles a year, with it basically—
Who was rappers in his era? I don't even remember. Was it fucking Lil Mosey? Lil Mosey was like 2016. Who was in Lil Tecca era? Let me know, cause I can't think of it.
seeming like Tecca was becoming more of a singles artist slash hitmaker than an album kind of artist, which honestly can be a tough decision to make as an artist. Do you be like Tecca and stick with your sound as you know it works, but at the same time people may get bored and the sound may become stale? Or do you experiment, switch up your sound so you can make a full-fledged album with a range of sounds? Something like what Yeat did, where he completely shifted from the rage sound to that, I don't know, industrial 2093 kind of sound, where you're taking a risk but you may also discover a new audience. I feel like these 2 guys on Reddit kind of displayed this perfectly. Did not change his flow at all since the last album. Don't fix what's not broken. It's just that it gets repetitive and the replay value is lower since a lot of songs sound similar. So yeah, he is making similar music year after year, but if it's working, why change it? However, at the same time, if you're listening to his 20-track album, it can get boring. Now, after We Love You Tecca 2, he would actually take a year break, presumably because the album's performance-wise, he was at the—
Boy said Buffalo Gas and Jagging It. I never heard of that before. Buffalo Gas, that's a new one, y'all. That's a new one.
decline, so he probably wanted to take a step back and develop something new, which would end up working extremely well for him. So just under 2 years since We Love You Tecca 2, in the July of 2023, he would come back with a bang, dropping the single £500. The song would blow up, debuting at the number 60 position on the Billboard Hot 100 and peaking at the 51st position sometime later. At this point in time, it had probably been 2 or 3 years since Tecca got a top 50 Billboard entry, but it seemed like the wait was worth it, especially after his year break. Tecca took some time away to adjust his approach to music, with £500 acting as one of the lead singles to his album Tech, which would drop in the following months, selling 41,000 units in its first week and debuting at the number 11 position. Overall, very solid numbers, especially in 2023, as over the years with streaming, it's become harder and harder to sell higher numbers, with the album containing some pretty big songs: Heaven on Earth with Kodak Black, Fell in Love with Ken Carson, and Down With Me, with Tecca overall leaving great impressions after his break, dropping.
So basically what I'm hearing is that Lil Tecca is loved because he didn't stop doing what got him to where he's at. And he went through some of the toughest times as a rapper. What I'm hearing, y'all. This video is fucking expanded like a motherfucker. So I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. But yeah, that's what they saying about Lil Tecca. No cap.